Hello everyone and welcome back to Just Cause 2, or Just Cause 3. I haven't done that, I don't think ever. So we're here floating around. This is after all the game stuff's done, all the story stuff's done, all the places are liberated. Captured pretty much everything that I need to capture. I won't say 100% of the game, because I didn't. If we look at the progression in just a minute. So I'm going to try, the idea here is that I'm going to fly. Right now, let's look at the map. So right now, we're down here in Kata. I'm going to fly up to the main island, fly all the way around it, and then see if maybe we can make it over to these other islands, basically flying around the world. It's a small world, after all, but we're going to try it anyway. We're not going to be able to fly to the volcano. I've tried it. I can't do it. Or glide, we could fly there by doing like a helicopter, but that's not nearly as much fun. Mainly, I just wanted to wrap this up with some thoughts about Just Cause, about games in general, about everything in the world. So, sit back, relax, enjoy it. This should be fun. We should also go ahead and look at my progress just to show this off a little bit. I don't know why Liberation is 83. No, that's total. Okay, so Liberation is 100%. Liberated everything. So that's done. No problem. Go back here. Mission and challenges, 73%. So we've done all the story missions. You can see that at the top, 25 out of 25. We've done 112 out of 112. Well, we unlocked the challenges, and we've completed a bunch of them, but not all of them. The Insula Fonte, we haven't done a lot of those. Insula Dracon, haven't done a lot of those. Yeah, so it's mostly just a matter of how many gears you've earned. And really that means getting 5 gears on everything. So to the people who have 100%ed this, congrats, because I couldn't do that. There's no way I can get 5 gears on some of those challenges. I'm just not that good. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Garage blueprints, we've got what? Maybe, 6 cars. So, yeah, that's definitely a thing in itself. And in fact, there's a perk you can get, gear mod, you can get that makes it so that cars that you haven't gotten yet actually show up on your map. Not actually on your map, but just like the hot cold that you get for all the collectibles, that also shows up for the cars. So if you want to do that, you can. The collectibles, I've done everything except the Daredevil jumps for 5 places. I might do that just to get 100% for all the collectibles and get that achievement. Apparently I'm missing all 5 of them are in Insula Dracon. That's pretty funny. I didn't realize that. All in one place, huh? How'd that even happen? Huh. It's kind of silly to me that Daredevil jumps actually count as collectibles, but whatever. Doesn't matter. The Ancient Tombs, if we see those around when we're flying, I'll point them out. They're basically just like very obvious green domes. Once you know what you're looking for, it's really easy to spot. And the Auto Diary, of course, we have the collectibles, so we've got all 71 of those. And then we have all the other stats that are just nice to have. How many times we spent in heat, how many meters traveled. You can tell I've put in a lot of wingsuiting time. That is about 1,000,000 meters wingsuiting, and we're about to increase that by who knows how much now. Yeah, 1,000,000 meters wingsuiting. That should be an achievement, I think. 1,000,000 meters wingsuiting. It isn't, though. And then, of course, all the weapon handling. 39% accuracy. That's pretty sad. I don't know how to excuse myself there. But okay, anyway. We're going to go flying around. I did start off with a fast travel here down to this area. So that's why I started out so high. We're going to see if we can keep the momentum going here. And see if we can manage to glide everywhere we want to glide. I have no idea if that's going to actually set a record for us. I did kind of sort of shut off leaderboards. I only say sort of because leaderboards can't actually be totally shut off. And I realize, and that's one of the things I kind of want to talk about, is how this online gaming thing kind of works for a lot of people. Now, I happen to be fortunate enough to live in an area where the internet's actually pretty good. I get about, is it 10 megabytes up? That's not huge. It's 300 megabytes to download stuff, but it's 10 megabytes up, and lets me upload a decent amount. I've streamed a little bit here. It's pretty good. Not everyone can do that, and the constant having to connect with everything and everybody. Oh, okay, the tree could have disrupted us there, but it didn't. It's kind of annoying for those people who don't have dependable internet. And that is a large contingent of the world. I looked it up once. Oh, granted, that might have been like 4 or 5 years ago, huh? Yeah, maybe. But when I looked it up, it was something like 20% of the world actually has something you could call broadband speed, and I think that might actually be exaggerated. I can't imagine that number has increased all that much nowadays. So yeah, having to connect all the time just to get leaderboards is kind of silly. If you don't connect, you of course saw the problem when I didn't have a connection, is it kept trying to get a connection. And that was kind of silly. And I kind of understand it, but I just wish there was an option to shut it off. There kind of is, and there kind of isn't. So let me go ahead and show you. If I go into options here and I go to gameplay, the extended leaderboards, you can see I currently have that off. Basically that makes it so that when I start doing a record, or start approaching what would normally be a personal best, it'll start tracking the personal best, but it'll also compare that to other people. Unless, of course, you shut the extended leaderboards off, then it just doesn't. Now, what it doesn't tell you is that behind the scenes, and I'm a little lost here, but we'll find our way. Behind the scenes, it actually still goes ahead and connects you to the leaderboards. It just makes it so it doesn't appear on the screen. So you still need the connection. So if my internet ever drops again and I play this game, it's going to keep sending me back and trying to connect to the boards, and that's kind of silly. I am actually a little bit lost. How do I get out of here? Go on my map. Am I actually in the right place here? Where am I? I am... Okay, I need to go a little bit to the left. What I didn't notice before, and I probably should have, you can, and we have in fact, gone straight up this way. Jumped on that little island there, go straight north. Could happen. But there's also just a road. And I don't know how I missed the road before, but I did. So we're going to follow the road as soon as we can actually turn here. Yeah, so the online always thing is always a pain in the ass. And, I mean, I don't exactly feel that pain. I recently moved away from a place that had awful internet. By awful internet, I mean DSL speeds. And that's not fair to the people who have to deal with, you know, actual speed that's measured in, like, baud, which is pretty absurd. But, you know, that's just... I moved away from something like that because I had the option to. Not everyone does. You know, your life is where it is, and you can't always change that. So, you know, you just have to deal with what you can deal with. And being, I won't say discriminated against... I don't know, it's kind of a classist thing, right? Is that, you know, you have to be good enough to have good enough internet and you're looked down upon for not doing it. It's just, it's kind of messed up. I don't like it. So I'm glad a lot of the games don't do that. Just Cause didn't do that for Just Cause 2, but they kind of had the same general idea. I don't know. It seems weird. Another point about Just Cause 3 here, though, is... So, I like the game. I don't want to disparage it. I want to say I do like the game. I think it's pretty good. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's fun. Watching all the explosions is always pretty cool. Physics are always a little bit wonky, but you know, that happens. It's just, you know. It's, oh, and here we go. Wingsuit Wonder. We've actually boosted up. So this timer is going to keep track of us now. I could have sworn I've done more than 5 minutes before, but what do I know? Yeah, I mean, the physics are a little wonky. I mean, the wingsuit, no way does it actually work that way. We're missing a tail fin, basically. At the very least, we need a tail fin. Let's actually go a little bit more on the coast here. Okay, so 8 minutes is our personal best. I could have sworn I've done that before, but I guess I've crashed a couple of times. I don't know. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, so anything I say, I want you to keep with that kind of lens, okay? Is that I think the game's fun. If you haven't picked it up, I suggest it. If you manage to pick it up on sale, even better. I would recommend not doing the plot, and this is where I want to really talk about the game, is that doing all the liberation missions is fun. It's great. You know, you get to blow up a lot of stuff, take out a lot of the commanders. David Tennant does the voice of the radio when you take out a base. Always really good. You guys didn't actually hear when I took down the last actually established base of Diravello's forces. He actually had a special message for us. He also asked to be rescued. Unfortunately, I don't know where that is. If I manage to find some secret about where he is, I will be sure to record that and share it, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I have a feeling that they never actually rendered the character, which is sad. I think that would actually be a really nice, fun mission to find. It might actually be in here. I just don't know where it is or where to find it. One thing you've also got to know is how to wingsuit. Really, sorry, this is actually taking more of my concentration than I thought it would. The timer up top is really kind of freaking me out a little bit, but we're fine. So yeah, it's a fun game, but I wouldn't recommend doing the story missions. If you're going to do anything, just do the liberations, and then start over, and then do them again. Now, the problem with starting over, and this is a problem for me personally, though I don't know how many people actually worry about this kind of stuff, is that this game does not have a New Game Plus. That actually bothers me a little bit. What you do instead, and let me get high enough so we can actually jump over here. What you can do instead is you can select one of these and right-click, and you can reoppress and then fast travel to it, and then you can, you know, re-liberate it again. I don't know why, but I have, and I struggle to come up with a good name for this, but the only thing I can really come up with is, like, ethical problems with that. And ethical is probably not actually the right word for it. But really, it seems disingenuous somehow. I mean, I realize, so what they wanted to do, and I know this, is that they want a way for you to keep on doing the challenges and keep your gear mods. But for some reason, they couldn't attach the gear mods specifically to the character because you unlock them, like, in the game. So they're more like game mods than anything else, right? So then at that point, you really, when you start a new game, you start over from scratch. There's no way to start a new game. Plus, as far as I can tell, now the problem with this, and the problem with me saying this, is that there's no actually way to tell that for sure, but everything I've seen, so the only way to tell for sure is to start a new game. I have not done that because it will blow everything away that I've done, and I don't want to do that. But everything I've seen, when I finished the game, it didn't say unlocked New Game Plus mode. It said, I think it said, and I'll have to verify that by going back to the last video, but you guys can do that for me. I'm not going to bother. But I believe it said just, you know, unlock sandbox mode, basically, you know, free roam. Do whatever you like. Yeah, okay, being able to reoppress a city, I kind of understand, you know. Being able to do that and getting some of the achievements that I missed last time. We still haven't gotten the achievement where we attach a guy with a tether to one of the fire extinguishers, whatever the hell those things are that turns into rockets. Oh, this is one of the tombs with the flag on it. We still haven't actually done one of those, so, you know, that would be fun to do, but I don't want to have to reoppress civilization to do it. But if I start a new game to do it, so it's a tiny bit more ethical, you know, it's only wiping out people's entire world, you know, and then freeing them again, that seems kind of, I don't know, intellectually dishonest. There's the phrase I was looking for. It seems like something you're just fooling yourself into doing. And that's fine for, like, a fun value, but I don't know. It's like when I finished Mad Max, I was disturbed that the companion, and I totally forget his name now, and I do apologize to the game for totally forgetting that, but the companion came back, and this is spoilers, by the way, in case you haven't actually finished Mad Max, or you're, you know, on your way to do it, or, you know, you haven't actually watched the videos yet, and you want to be surprised. So I'm going to use this time right now to go ahead and, you know, quit out, jump ahead 2 minutes. So the companion comes back even though we've killed him, for the sandbox mode, and that made me shut off the game immediately, because it was like, well, okay, the story says he's dead, so at what point, like, logistically, canonically, does this game continue on then? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, okay, then everything might as well have been in Max's head. That would have actually been a cool way to do it, but they didn't. And I think that's the main problem with a lot of sandbox games, is that the story's kind of just tacked on. And Mad Max actually did a little bit better than I think Just Cause 3 did. But Just Cause 3 has the wingsuit, so you know who you gonna play. I mean, I think out of the two, Just Cause actually has a little bit more fun with it. Mad Max is very serious, but it's by design. That kind of fits with the world. So I'm not disparaging it at all. I think it's a good treatment of the subject matter, but it's definitely a different sort of game. But I think overall, while I think it did a better job on the story, is because I wasn't constantly berated with escort missions, and the Just Cause missions were almost all variation on make sure this guy doesn't die. And I was so tired of it. I know that came through in the videos, because I would roll my eyes every time and be like, oh my god. And I wanted Mario dead. Okay? And Annika at least got somewhat of a pass because, you know, cool badass chick who can actually fire a weapon. I totally appreciate that. But, you know, she only got kind of a pass. Really, it was kind of annoying when she died. What was it, the first time we met her? It was really annoying. And then we had a bunch of escort missions, and Mad Max actually did decent story missions without relying too much on escort. It was mostly a skill check, really. It was, can you do this race? Are you good enough to do this? Do you have this? It was a skill check and a gear check. Did you unlock all the gears to be able to do the story mission properly? And if you didn't unlock all the gears, well, you better skill up, boyo, because it's going to be a tough show. Whereas this, okay, we died a couple of times on a couple of story missions, but really they're just filler. I mean, they'd help you take down the FOW in some areas, and I'm still not entirely clear what FOW stands for, but, you know, whatever. They help you do that. I have no idea why Dina thought it was a good idea to kill herself off in the story, or why they felt it was a good idea to kill her off. There was no attachment there. From a story perspective, I didn't actually feel the significance of her loss. It was just, really? Really? You're just gonna, okay, sure, why not? I mean, if you really want to do this game, I'm not gonna stop you. But it does mean that if there's a Just Cause 4, that it's gonna be a little harder to excuse, you know, any new developments in technology, or whatever they want to do. I mean, Dina's the one who came up with the wingsuit. Who's going to come up with his next technological invention? It's not going to be Rico. I mean, Rico's decent at some of this stuff, but he's kind of just muscle. I mean, I don't know how much, in terms of brains, he actually has in his head. He's at least able to come up with a decent, semi-decent plan, but most of those plans are essentially, you know, go in, Rambo it up, shoot some stuff, Bob's your uncle. That's it. That's all he's got. So, I don't know. It seems like a weird choice, and we almost crashed there. That would have been a bad waste of our streak. I think what I'm going to do is, as soon as we actually crash, I'm going to end the video. Just so you know, you're on edge a little bit if you're not paying attention to how long this video is. And remember, the timer came up, but the timer is a little bit wrong because because I started the video maybe 20 seconds after I started flying, maybe a full minute. It was something around that. So, you know, don't pay attention to the timer. It's going to lie to you. So, yeah, I mean, I won't say the franchise is in trouble, because that's just hyperbole. But it's kind of weird. Also, I don't know how much you guys were actually paying attention to the story, but Mario and Rico had, like, a plan. A decent, I mean, I won't say it's decent, but at least a funny retirement plan where he and Rico were actually going to start a used car business, and they would have these, you know, silly mottos and advertisements for their store, you know, like, Our prices are revolutionary, that kind of stuff. So if there's a Just Cause 4, there's like a serious problem of, well, what happened to their business? Did it not work out? Are Mario and Rico like not okay anymore? Are they not friends? Did something horrible happen? You know, it's just, it's an interesting question that I'd like to see them properly resolve, but that's caring about the story maybe a little bit too much, because I don't even remember what happened in the story of Just Cause 2. I remember at the very end of that game riding on a missile to take care of the final boss. And so that brings me to another point, is final boss fights. And again, here I think Mad Max actually did it better, and I think Just Cause 2 did it better. Just Cause 2 actually had a very good boss fight. If you have never seen it before, I suggest looking up video on it. It was actually pretty silly, but it felt badass. There's just something about riding a nuclear missile while fighting a diminutive would-be world leader that just, I don't know. It was fun. It was silly. It was over the top. It was ridiculous. It was great. Whereas the boss fight in this game was kind of, I won't say it's total bullshit, but it felt a little bit like total bullshit, didn't it? I mean, the only way I won that was because I thought a little bit outside the box when I placed some C4. And what's really funny is that there's actually a mod that would have stopped me from finishing the game that way. There's a mod called Safety Fuse, I believe it is, whereas if you're close enough to the C4, it just doesn't go off. But it was absolutely critical that the C4 went off basically in my hand so that the explosion could take out the bad guy's ship. Without that, we were out of ammo. We were out of grenades. We were out of everything except for infinitely resupplying C4. What were we going to do? We had to do something, and the C4 would not have stayed on the ship after the shield went up. So it had to be while the shield was down, during that brief, you know, what was it? Maybe 30 seconds while the shield was down. Subtract another, say, 10 to 20 seconds just to get the shield, just to get to the ship, being able to grapple to it while its shield was down. I mean, it's not... that leaves a total of maybe 10 seconds to put this, to grapple onto it, put the C4 on, get off, blow it up. I don't know if that's doable. So that's why I didn't do it that way. We did it the easy way, so to speak, is we went ahead and actually just blew it up while we were on it. I just kept mashing Q because I knew I had no other choice. And we've actually taken a point-blank shot from C4 before, so I knew we wouldn't die. But it was still a near thing. But what it actually came down to is just this guy in a hugely overpowered ship that we were not prepared for. Now, is that my fault? Maybe. But I think also it's a little bit of a fault of the game, and I want to get actually closer to the coast here. So let's go back over this way. I think it's a little bit of fault of the game that if I had been properly prepared for that, if I had, like, I don't know, a little bit more of the mods. There's another mod that lets you have, I think, so we already had a mod that let us have twice as much ammo in our special weapon. So we would have had more explosive, ranged explosive shots, which would have been good. But I think there's yet another one that lets you have like 4 times as much ammo, which is just silly, but also really, really useful when you're going up against a bullshit boss fight. And if we had that mod, and we had full ammo, I think that would have been a cakewalk boss, and maybe a different gun. The gun we had probably was not ideal. Also, someone better than I, a better pilot than I, would have been able to maneuver those helicopters into a far superior position and be able to take care of it no problem. So that means the boss is kind of a joke. Now, Di Ravello, I mean, his character basically is a play on any of these tin pot dictators who, you know, would rule their country with an iron fist, whatnot. But, so he's already kind of a joke. But the way Just Cause 2 treated it definitely treated them as a joke. I mean, I think the original Just Cause did that too, but it's been so long, I don't even remember. Just Cause 2 I've at least played in the last 5 years, so that I remember. But it played it, I don't know, more entertainingly. Whereas the entertainment here is mostly just, oh, look at the silly physics, look what we can do with the tether, the wingsuit, the explosions, you know, attaching the C4 to everyone. Isn't that hilarious? And it is. It's pretty hilarious, and I enjoyed it. But, I don't know, it treated the subject matter maybe a little bit better. And maybe it's totally unfair to compare the sequel. I don't know. It seems like, I mean, the writing team must be different. And I have no idea who like the writers are. I wasn't paying attention to the credits. I don't know if you guys were when I was talking over at last episode. And so I have no idea who's actually on the writing team. This is not meant as a disparaging remark against them. It's just, I didn't feel it. I just didn't feel it. And I think the story missions are eminently skippable. And that might just be, you know, what you get for a Just Cause game, is you get an eminently skippable story missions. That's fine. That's doable. I mean, it's all about the silly stuff you can get up to. And the modders, which I think will add multiplayer to this. And I think that's mainly... I'm actually kind of surprised multiplayer didn't get put in this game. Not that I'm a big fan of multiplayer in general. I mean, I think it's okay. I think it works. I don't like it when games suffer for adding multiplayer. Especially, like, you don't get the release date that you were expecting because, oh, whoops, we forgot to put in multiplayer. Well, that was never really the issue. I never really wanted multiplayer in the first place. Let's go ahead and put down a marker so I can see when we get around to this. We are actually... Okay, so we've gone all the way around. We're actually rapidly approaching. So let's go ahead and put a marker like all the way down here. And if we can get to that waypoint, I'll be very surprised. It is actually pointing that way, but that's okay. That's because, you know, the way the game works sometimes. It might mean we're actually another 20 minutes away, but it's hard to tell if we'll actually make it. I might fall on my face. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've actually found a way to deal with these trees while we're wingsuiting. And I do appreciate the skill checks in this game. And there are skill checks. I mean, a 30 what something percentage accuracy is awful, and probably gives a good reason why I did so badly on several missions, is that I just had an awful accuracy. If I do ever restart the game, and I might, but it would be like a year from now, if I do that, I hope my accuracy improves. My accuracy is usually pretty bad in most third-person shooters, mostly because I'm used to first-person shooters and looking down the scope. And obviously there's no way I can do that here. If there was some way to make this a first-person shooter game, I'm not sure how that would work with the grapple. I might actually get ill. I usually don't get motion sick, like at all. But every once in a while, like on roller coasters, it happens sometimes. But having a grappling hook in first person, I mean, Just Cause games have always been third person games. It's just how they're designed. So it makes sense to do it in this game and make a third person view for pretty much everything. But if they were to do a first person mod for this, I bet my accuracy would improve by at least 20%. I'd expect to only, you know, miss half my shots instead of 2/3 of my shots. But anyway, I was talking about the trees and the skill check, so I don't know if you guys noticed, but so I did hate the trees before when I was wingsuiting, and I said there was a pain in the ass to do. Actually, it's not actually that bad. If you can get a good lock on some of the tree trunks, and you need to aim like right for the trees, basically. Oh, okay, that's fine. We didn't actually, I mean, I know the timer stopped, but we didn't actually drop. I don't know, that probably counts, right? Yeah, that probably counts. Well, we'll throw off the people who skipped ahead and figured that I only, you know, went for, or they think that I went for 47 minutes. Well, no, I didn't. I only went for what? Maybe 25? Is that what the number was? I wasn't actually paying attention. So yeah, that goes back to my skill check comment, right? I mean, I like the skill check. I'm bad at it, but I like it. And I think they should have more of it. So like you can aim straightly for the branches here and actually grapple onto the branches and move yourself forward that way. It's actually pretty good. And so that means that in a forest, you actually have no reason not to be above the treetops. Assuming, of course, you can actually hit the main trunk and not just... Oh, okay, that was a little bit more dangerous than I thought it was going to be. Now, of course, in a forest like this, it's a little hard to figure out exactly where you are, but I shouldn't have been that low to begin with. And there's a bunch of skill check stuff like that. I mean, definitely, they want you to get better with the guns. That's why I only got 3 gears on a lot of the gun challenges, is because I'm not that good with the guns. And my accuracy suffered for that, and I didn't adapt properly. We'll go ahead and go down here. If I had adapted properly to the gun usage, my accuracy would be way up. My deaths would be way down. I would be using the tether a lot more. I use the tether a lot during wingsuit, but I hardly ever used it in battle. I use it to get around, very much in a Spider-Man way, but you've seen me, maybe you've seen me, maybe you haven't. I have played Spider-Man, and I do have videos up of me playing Spider-Man. Watch how I play that. I use the webbing like I use the gun in this game, but mostly I use the webs to get away like I use the tether in this game. So really, it's the same kind of thought, is that if you're good at playing Spider-Man games, and this is a weird comparison, but it works, if you're good at playing Spider-Man games, you're going to be really good at playing Just Cause. Especially if you like that one Spider-Man game that I actually was horrible at, where you actually had to control where the webs attach to. I was awful at that, because it meant looking up every, I don't know, 5 seconds to figure out, okay, I want to actually attach to this building to move over here and then swing over. I'm awful at that. And there's a game actually based on that I totally forgot the name of. It's like, it might actually be called Grapple or Tether or something like that. I've totally forgotten. That is not the name of it. It's not Grapple or Tether. But anyway, I'm awful at that game because of that. But if you're really good at like using secondary abilities to pull off everything, more power to you. That's awesome. And there are a lot of videos of people who are good at that. Me, I treated this more as just a generic third-person shooter, and I probably suffered for that. I still think it's a really good game. I think if you guys like that sort of thing, you should definitely play. I mean, like that sort of thing, as in like third-person shooters, you should probably play Mad Max. Just because it seems like, and haha, I've just entered the title of this game in it, but just because it seems like that's really more of a third-person shooter, it's also more of a driving game. This game does have driving. The driving controls are actually pretty decent, but just like Mad Max, it really I think it works better with a controller. I have played with a controller a little bit for this game off camera, mostly because I'm a big proponent of keyboard controls. I think if you have a game on the PC, you should really make it so that it uses the entire keyboard. And that's one complaint I definitely have this game, is that it doesn't have that kind of fine control. It's really depending on maybe 15 buttons to make everything work. And I realize when you port something from a console or to a console, you really have to keep that as part of your design decision of, well, okay, but how are we going to make this work for everybody without having to rewrite everything? And that's difficult. And I can appreciate that. The port is actually really good other than that. I don't think the textures suffer at all. I think it looks beautiful. There is a little bit more Bryce shading than I think is absolutely necessary, but I'm speaking to that only as an amateur user of Bryce. You know, do a little bit of 3D rendering on the side. It's, you know, there's a couple of things that just stick out at me because of that. The rock texturing is a little so-so, but the actual design of the islands is actually really good. I'm not sure if this is based on any actual, like, real islands, but I like to pretend it is, and it certainly kind of seems like it might be. I could almost believe it. And that's actually pretty high praise in a video game, is that I could pretty much believe this naturally formed. Someone actually thought about it, at least. Whether or not they paid ultimate attention to that or just decided to make a sacrifice for story reasons, another thing entirely. That I don't know. But it seems like, it seems reasonable to at least say, okay, yeah, well, of course there's a volcano nearby, because the islands had to form somehow. And so this is how I think they would have formed, with the volcano erupting a little bit at first, and then doing a huge eruption that created this big island, and then, a tiny eruption as the hot point for the magma basically moved due to continental drift. Okay, I could see that. It's kind of weird that, there's two sections like that, but there could have been two volcanoes, and the one we see on the far west is just the currently active one. Okay, I could believe that. And so, there's some praise to that. The trees are a little wonky in that they're not actually rooted to anything. If I were to crash into a tree right now, it'd be 50-50 whether or not it actually came down with me. Even just as a person flying along at, well, admittedly, this is probably a good 70 or 80 kilometers an hour, which is pretty fast. One thing I've got to say, though, is that they really made the wingsuit, really nice. It flies really nice. It handles decently. It doesn't handle anything like a real wingsuit, I don't think. I've never actually done that, so I couldn't say for sure. I'd like to get an expert opinion on that. If you guys have actually done any wingsuiting, let me know how it works for you. Does it actually feel like something you would actually like? I can't imagine that there won't be somebody, so I guess I can imagine, should be a better way to say that. I can imagine in the not too distant future someone coming up with a way, I'm not sure how they do it, but a way to make it so that they could do basically what I'm doing right now. Wingsuit along, and then grapple along to change velocity, direction, like any of those variables. It'd be weird, it'd be cool, I'd be really interested to see that, and I hope it happens. Because that really opens up a whole slew of possibilities. Now, getting pulled along the same arm every time, Rico does not skip any of his exercise days, okay? He does leg day, he does arm day, he does leg day again, because, man, have you seen his legs? And then he does ab day, on that same arm day, because he's no slacker, he's no slouch. He might do arm and leg day at the same time. That's just kind of badass he is. Have you seen how fast he fires with basically no recoil? It's actually kind of impressive. Very little recoil. There's some spread on the guns, but very little. And that's probably true of most third-person shooters. I am skipping a little bit over this, but I'm hoping to actually get to this island. We're coming up. Okay, so where am I now? I am going over this small bay, so I'm going to have to move a little bit over this way. But yeah, it's pretty good. The boats, though. The boats are so horribly slow. I don't know why you would ever want to go in a boat. Now, it's true, I haven't actually driven much in the boats. I've driven enough in the boats to know that they are painfully slow and they have to contend with some really choppy waves. And it's possible that that's just how oceans are when you're around this many islands, is you're going to have choppiness all to hell. And that's fair. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a geologist or a biologist. I don't know. Oceanographer? Something, anyway, to do with wave motions near islands. Not one of those people, obviously, since I don't even know what the name of it is. So I don't even know if it's realistic. But I'd driven enough of the boats to at least say, no, not going to do it. Not going to do it. And there are some boat gears you can get that probably do a whole bunch of cool stuff. In fact, let's look at that right now. What do the boat gears get you? Do they get you anything good? They get you... No, that's tether mods. Funny, I saw the anchor there and I thought that was... But that's not what that is. Boat, over here. Yeah, see, I've unlocked none of these. So boat nitrous, that just seems like that would boost you into the air even more. Turbo jump. You can maybe go over the cresting waves a little better. Okay, the restock speed, yeah, okay. Turbo jump 2 and boat nitrous 2. Meh. Not really thrilled about any of those options, really. Yeah. So, you know, that's a thing. I mean, the fighting in this game is really good. The physics are decent. And this is for the time. So, this video is recorded in 2016. If you were watching this and it's like 2020 now, well, also, you know, who's the president? Because I'm kind of curious who wins the election. But also, well, you know, how's the future, man? Can you send me some lottery numbers from the future? Like, this is 2016. What day is it even that's coming out? This is February 29th, I think. I don't even know what day it is. That's how sad that is. Yeah, February 29th sounds right. All right, sure. We'll say it's the end of February 2016, and this might actually be the end of it, boys. Am I going to get over this? Okay, yes. Yes, I did. Just barely. Made it really freaking slow. So yeah, if you're watching this in 2020, you're going, man, what are you talking about? He doesn't even sweat. Sweat physics is all the rage now. He doesn't even do that. But I'm telling you, man, in the year 2020, you're going to be able to pick up this game for like $5. Maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. Maybe inflation's really bad. Maybe it's still $60. It's hard to tell. But anyway, if inflation's really bad and it's still $60, that's still really cheap for you because inflation's really bad. So, you know, you should consider picking it up. It's a lot of fun. I probably wouldn't recommend Just Cause 2. That's the second Just Cause, not necessarily this game. I would recommend Just Cause 3 to somebody in 2020. I'm not sure I would recommend Just Cause 2 to someone in 2020 or 2021, you know, in case you don't want to think I'm talking about vision here. Mostly because I think it holds up now, but the game's only, what, 3 years old now? In 2021, it's going to be like 7 years old. Have you tried playing a 7-year-old game? I mean, you can do it. One, you might be able to do it. If you can run it properly in compatibility mode, great. But if you can't, well, if you can't, you just can't run the game. But there's also this halfway measure where you can kind of, sort of, maybe run the game. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that it's going to be all janky. It's like running like a console game on your PC. You'd be like, okay, yeah, I could do that. Or, you know, I could do almost anything else. And I probably shouldn't have dived there, so I'm going to try to get a boost off of this. But this might be it. I don't think I'm going to be able to make this. And it's hard to say. It's possible. It's possible. One gear mod I did unlock was air brakes, which means that I can actually touch down and it will automatically shut off the wingsuit. Oh, this, I'm just barely going to make this. It's going to shut off the wingsuit when I get too slow, but it didn't actually kick in there, which I'm glad to see. I think I might actually have to hit T in order to shut off the wingsuit. I'm actually kind of surprised that worked. I'm also kind of amused that I keep getting chaos points. Especially since there shouldn't be any remnant left over. I know, was the last episodes before this, I've compared it to, you know, the Rebel faction in Star Wars. You've killed the Emperor, okay, great, but you also have the Imperial Remnant. There's no more Imperial Remnant. They don't have a base anymore, okay? Taking care of all of the bases. All the bases are gone. They're all gone. I've liberated the whole thing. You saw the progress meter. It's 100%. Where are these enemy vehicles showing up from? Some Imperial Remnant has decided to attack the rebels when they're in full force, which means they're not actually rebels anymore. It means the Imperial forces are now the rebels. The rebels are now the de facto rulers of Demishi. So one thing else I want to talk about is kind of lost opportunities. I think what would have been really interesting, and maybe would have frustrated some people, but I think it still would be interesting to do, is to say that the new president, what was her name? Rosa something. I don't actually remember. So Rosa something. Anyway, yeah, almost 25 minutes on there. But I think it would have been really interesting if at the end of the game, just before they put you in sandbox mode, they revealed that President Rosa was actually worse than Di Ravello. Or at least she was in the same mindset. That she actually said, well, you know what? I think that this vivarium stuff's actually pretty good, and I'm going to use it. And to be like, oh no, that's actually, disparaging to the name of Dina, who died to protect it. And so how dare you? And so they actually, say, well, she's got to be taken care of. Oh. Well, we would have made it all the way over there. We actually landed. Oh, we actually touched down. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this episode then. I mean, I would love to just keep going and going and going and talking and talking. We almost made it. We actually made a pretty good circle there. Look at the map. We started all the way down here in Kata. We went up. We didn't actually visit Petra at all, but we went up, went to Cap d'Est, crossed there, went around, came up again, all the way up, because I babbled for quite a while. Down this way, jumped a little bit across there, went up again, all the way over, all the way down. We crashed somewhere in this area, but we picked ourselves up. We didn't actually touch the ground, so we kept going all the way down, all the way down. Where are we? Where are we? I know we didn't cross another. There we go. There we are. So we're in the middle of Baia. So there you go. We made it all the way, almost all the way around. Oh, that's pretty even. I'm pretty satisfied with that. And we didn't actually set any new records or anything. I mean, I did a personal best of 24 minutes and 65 seconds. No, 24.65 minutes, huh? That's different. Which is always nice. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. This has been Just Cause 3. I'm in PC Universe. I'm going to play a wonderful new game here in March that's not new to most of you. You've probably seen a lot of stuff around it. And of course, those of you who are watching in the future already know, or actually maybe you don't know what game it is going to be. That's actually pretty interesting, actually, that people in the future actually not probably paying attention to anything or any order that we put these games in. They're just watching. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. It's been fun. I'm PC Universe. As always, you are PC Universe too. And you're a special PC Universe. Just like all of us. We're all special individual pieces that are all necessary to make the whole entire puzzle work and come together. So I want to thank you for coming together, for watching, for doing all the wonderful things you do, and I will see you guys next time.